Most traders never realize the loudest voice in their mind is the one that is keeping them stuck. Because in trading, in this business, there are two voices fighting for control. And the one that you listen to will decide whether you stay stuck or finally level up. So the big question is, what do these voices or these two voices actually sound like on the charts? Well, let's break it down. I like to call it the angel versus the devil. Now, here's how it shows up. The angel on your shoulder says, stick to the plan, wait for confirmation, protect your account. The devil says, forget the rules. This looks like easy money. Take it before it's gone. The angel says, one trade is enough for today. Protect your consistency. The devil says, come on, just one more. Don't leave money on the table. The angel says, journal this trade. Learn from it. The devil says, forget it. You already know what you did wrong. And here's the truth, guys. Most traders end up listening to the devil more often than the angel. And that's why they stay stuck. Because the devil speaks louder. It promises quick wins, shortcuts, and certainty. But the angel whispers, discipline, patience, process. And it's always the quiet voice that leads to growth. Now, the question is, why does this happen? Well, your brain is wired for survival, not for trading. It craves certainty. So when there's risk or uncertainty, your mind creates noise. And that noise is the contradiction. So it makes you believe both voices have a point. But in trading, survival instincts don't help you. They sabotage you. And that contradiction is the reason that you cut winners early. You hold losers too long and see trades that don't even exist. Now, here's where it goes even deeper. It's not just psychology. What's really happening is a battle between two levels of consciousness, the higher versus lower consciousness. And the higher consciousness, guys, inside of you is the consciousness that guides you to make the right decisions. So it says, follow your rules, trust the probabilities, let the edge play out. Be patient. The market will give you another setup tomorrow. Journal this trade, learn the lessons, and get sharper for the next one. Now, we all know that's the path to mastery. However, we have the lower consciousness, which exaggerates, it twists things, it perverts reality. It says this setup is different. You can bend the rules this one time. You've been losing, so you're due for a win, double the risk. If you don't take this trade, you'll miss the best move. And if you let that lower voice run the show, that is what keeps you trapped in the cycle of sabotage. And this is where it gets even deeper, because those two voices, they're not random. They're two different levels of consciousness inside of you. So one pulls you higher towards discipline and mastery, and then the other one drags you lower. It twists reality, and it's what keeps you stuck. So let me show you the difference. There is a hidden purpose of contradiction. And the reason for this is because there is no path that's right for everyone. If there was no contradiction, if it was always a crystal clear path, then no trader would ever develop their own edge. So the contradiction is what forces you to make a choice. And in making those choices, you become your own trader. So without contradiction, you'd never learn to trust yourself. Without noise, you'd never develop discipline. Without mistakes, you'd never grow conviction. So contradiction isn't just the enemy, it's also the test. And the way that you handle it is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. But here's where it gets even more dangerous. If contradiction keeps showing up and you keep choosing the wrong side, something worse starts to happen. It doesn't just trip you up in the moment. What it does is it creates an illusion that makes you believe that you're growing when really you're just standing still. And we call this the trap of false growth. And here's the dangerous part most traders never notice. If you stay stuck in your old habits long enough, the lower consciousness doesn't just whisper bad ideas, it tricks you into believing that you're growing. So as an example, you've been trading for 3 years, so you tell yourself you're experienced. You stop blowing accounts, so you think you're consistent. You survived another month, so you assume you're on the right path. But in reality, you're standing still. And that's the full sense of certainty the lower mind creates. It convinces you that what you're doing is working just enough to keep you locked in the same cycle and never changing. And here's a brutal truth. Stagnation isn't a safety. It's slow death. It feels comfortable, but it's quietly killing your chances of ever breaking through. And that's the real danger. False growth keeps you comfortable, but it also keeps you trapped. So the question is, what's the way out? But it comes back to a rule that I live by, a rule that every trader has to face, whether they like it or not. And that's the rule of contradiction. And this is the paradox of trading. Without contradiction, there is no growth. If there was no angel and no devil, you'd never learn to choose. If there was no noise, you'd never learn to cut through it. If there were no mistakes, you'd never build conviction. So contradiction isn't just the enemy, it's also the test. And it forces you to decide who you are as a trader. And here's where most people fail. They keep choosing comfort over growth. They keep listening to the loud voice over the quiet one. They keep letting the lower mind lead them in circles. But the traders who make it, they're not free from contradiction. They've just learned to choose the right side over and over again until it becomes who they are. And what that actually feels like in real life, well, contradiction shows up as this pulse in your chest when price moves without you. When your mind floods you with headlines, profit and losses, last week's loss, last week's consecutive losses. One voice tells you, wait for your trigger. The other says, just click the button. So growth is choosing the first voice while your body wants the second. And no angel and no devil means no choice and no identity. So under pressure, you are being sculpted. Every decision is identity training. I'm the trader who respects my stop loss. I'm the trader who waits for the close. So identity isn't a slogan. It's paid for in micro moments, guys, where you want the shortcut and take the standard instead. Now, if there was no noise, then there's no filter. Noise is in the gym, or noise is the gym. Without it, you're never going to learn the difference between urge and edge. The skill isn't not hearing noise, it's running your filter. Is my setup fully present? Did the candle close? Is risk within plan? And if two answers aren't a clear yes, then that's noise dressed up as opportunity. Now, if you made no mistakes, there's no conviction. Conviction is scar tissue turned into rules. You moved a stop once and got punished. Good. Now your system has teeth. Journal the pain, codify the fix, and your next decision is lighter because the rule carries the weight for you. So you see, contradiction isn't just the enemy, it's the test. So test yourself on purpose. Build tiny reps that favor the higher voice. One clean pass on a near setup, one disciplined exit at plan, one honest journal on a red day. What you're doing here is you're stacking proof that you can choose well when it gets hard. So here's my challenge for you. Next time you're in front of the charts and those two voices start fighting, just take a minute, pause, and just ask yourself, which one is talking to my higher self? And which one is just noise? Because every choice you make isn't just about a trade, it's about which voice you're trading to win. And then in the end, the trader you become is nothing more than the sum of those choices. If you enjoyed this video, guys, do me a favor, subscribe, hit the like button, turn on notifications, and as I always say, continue to trust the process.